stand up and say that we support a project that everybody wants. It's more difficult to take the stands, and again, I have a long record of this at the school system. It's hard work. Anybody that wants to be an education mayor is not a smart political person, that's for sure. It's a difficult, difficult, difficult job, but somebody has to do it.
Thank you. Ms. Robinson.
Well, I agree with Patrick on that issue, but it's really important to understand our school system in terms of our population rate in Pittsburgh. We're losing our tax base because when people think about staying in the city or moving into the city, the first thing they're going to think, because we want people with children, we have to be very honest, because they're going to stay here and be committed. They're going to look at our school system. So for a mayor to say that he has no power at all and our tax base issue is the most important issue because of tax dollars and having enough money to run the city is absolutely ridiculous. What he has to do is use programs like the Promise, but programs that go further than the Promise. The reason why his Promise doesn't go far enough, I love the Promise, but I'm here to tell you it doesn't go far enough, so don't write that I don't like the Promise, I do, is that he's out of touch. He doesn't understand. He's thinking, oh, people like me get through high school, we need to be able to get to college. Well, guess what? People like me don't get through high school. And he's out of touch with that. He doesn't understand that. Now, you don't have to be me to know that, but you do have to have some life skills and understand the communities around you. You have to start looking at the statistics and think, okay, I need to do something. And so I think that the reason why our dropout rate is so high is because we aren't taking a leadership approach. We aren't. We're looking at a pure punitive sort of issue or idea or solution, like curfew centers. That's punitive. All that money in a curfew center, I agree with Patrick, we should have something during the day for kids that are truant. That's more important than a curfew center. And so if you have a mayor that's focused on really our children and getting through the system and education and violence in the communities, then you'll have a mayor that understands his power and will learn and will understand, or her power, I'm sorry, thank you, and will learn how to properly wield it. The problem, like I said, is that he doesn't have any life skills, therefore he doesn't know how to wield power. Thank you.
This is the final question of the day for this segment, and it's somewhat related. Other than the Pittsburgh Promise, what tools, what initiatives, what particular programs would you employ to boost the city's population? It's already been suggested we're losing population at a very drastic rate. So let's begin with, well, Patrick Dahl.
Just quickly, are we talking about education in general, or
the population as it relates,
population
other than the Pittsburgh Promise itself,
yeah,
which principally was to bring
sure,
people back to the city?
I think, again, as I've said a couple of times, and I don't, there are a lot of things to talk about with respect to population, so I'll say a few things, but choice inside of education and charter schools is important, because as Ms. Robinson points out, when people make a decision about whether they're going to stay or leave, come or not to Pittsburgh, education will be a big factor in their decision, and the greater choice within the public school system and within the city itself, charters are an important part of that. The second thing that we need to talk about is, again, jobs. How are we going to create jobs here in the city? We need to make sure that we are providing young entrepreneurs and business owners, or people who are thinking about business, with opportunities. The mayor wants to put money at the URA. That's not the place where this money belongs. It's a drop in the bucket. First of all, the URA is not expert as far as decision making on these things. We need to partner with organizations in the tech industry, and the Tech Council, the Innovation Works, other organizations like that who have expertise in helping fund startup companies to help grow the jobs that will become, the Microsoft jobs here in Pittsburgh down the road. We need to make sure that those dollars are available, but we also need to make sure, and this is again about leadership, you need to make sure that people can see their pathway to success in Pittsburgh. Flying to another country to meet with leaders, to bring business back here, to show them, here's what you can get in Pittsburgh. We have tons of really great people with hardworking skills and great education, great opportunity for your business to be located here, driving across the state. I mean, you don't have to fly across the world, you can do both. You have to be able to go out and show people that their success pathway is here in Pittsburgh. So you focus on making sure you have choice in education, you focus on making sure that there's opportunities for businesses to grow and to emerge here and to come to this region. And then finally, I think we need to start thinking about quality of life issues. I really believe that we need to talk about bike and pedestrian initiatives to change the way people see how we get around in this city And let's, for goodness sakes, let's get serious about public transportation. Again, the mayor will say, I can't do that, don't have any authority, but we can. You know, I started an initiative, he signed on to do bike and ped work. That was one thing that we agreed on together. So that's good, that's another area where we could agree. Let's talk about public transportation. Let's push and drive in that area. Let's take this tunnel that's under the river and drive a line to the airport, or to the north side. Let's get one into Oakland as well. Let's get serious about public transportation.
All right, Ms. Robinson.
Well, I agree with Patrick, except for I'm definitely not a fan of the carnival tactics that we currently use, that we've been using probably the last 10 years to lure people into Pittsburgh. We spend our taxpayer dollars. And when I say our taxpayer dollars, I'm talking about Lazarus, Lords and Taylors, and currently an abatement program geared towards luring people into Pittsburgh. I say we take care of us. I say we take care of our neighborhoods. I would create a Department of Neighborhoods. I would also support small business. I use Bloomfield as the model. Bloomfield is a wonderful, diverse neighborhood, ethnically diverse, that is, with many different mom and pops. That's important. That community thrives even in times of hardship. If we concentrate on us, we'll get a reputation about Pittsburgh taking care of us. People will want to come here. I don't know about you, but I don't want to spend my money to lure people in for tax abatements for 10 years while I live next to abandoned homes. We're not taking care of us. The Lazarus deal didn't work. The Lords and Taylors didn't work. I listened to the last debate and the mayor said, yeah, that didn't work. We'll try something different. We'll try residential neighborhoods downtown. Well, before we start a new neighborhood, let's take care of the old ones. We need to get back to doing what Pittsburgh is most known for, and that's taking care of its people. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, I think there are a couple different areas I'd like to focus on. Like you talk about population, one is jobs. And when you look at right now, the fact that there's $4 billion worth of investment in the city of Pittsburgh, economic development projects, not only in the downtown what we're currently sitting in, but neighborhoods. Those $4 billion worth of investment equate to jobs. One of the points on my 11-point plan is nurturing our eds and meds, our educational institutions and medical facilities primarily located in Oakland. That's the future of our economy. That's why Pittsburgh is doing better than most right now. That's why our unemployment rate is lower than the state and national averages by far. It's because of those sectors. 2008, the last quarter of 2008, those two sectors grew jobs in the downturn in the national economy. We have to recognize that. We have to help them. We have to work with, as the councilman suggested, the Pittsburgh Technology Council was just there last week, interestingly enough, with Audrey Russo to announce our loan fund for high-tech, biotech, and green energy jobs. It was in collaboration with the Tech Council. We did the same with the micro loan fund for small and minority-owned businesses with Howard Slaughter at Landmarks Community Capital Corporation. So we are partnering with many of folks to create jobs and good-paying jobs here in the city of Pittsburgh. That's one. Number two is to have a good quality of life. To have clean and safe neighborhoods. That's been a focus of mine since I took the office. Carmen mentioned the Department of Neighborhoods. I agree with her. That's why shortly after I became the mayor, we created the Department of Neighborhood Initiatives. And it's been up and running for 2.5 years. And Kim Graziani and Lauren Byrne and company are doing a tremendous job of reaching out to communities, working with them, and dealing with quality of life issues, such as abandoned homes and vacant lots. We've doubled our demolition budget to get our hands around those. What do you do after you worked on a house? You green it up. We created Green Up Pittsburgh and greening lots, creating community gathering spaces, urban gardens. That's the type of activity that has to happen to get people to live here. Quality of life, good clean neighborhoods, safe streets, investing in our police department, increasing foot patrols. Our police officers, since I've been the mayor, have logged over 10,000 hours on their feet, on the street, outside of their police vehicles, communicating with people in the neighborhoods and making sure that their city is a safe one. So while I think the Pittsburgh Promise is clearly number one when you look at what is required or what we need to do to reverse the population decline, shortly thereafter are jobs and a good quality of life in our communities.
Thank you.
And I should have said thank you for hosting because that was our last answer. None of us did that. So thank you, Rod, and thank you to the Chamber for having us.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Welcome back, Doris Carson Williams, please.